Hi everyone, this is my video review of my Randusiru Japanese backpack that I just bought on eBay. I bought this from a seller called Calypso0925. I'll put all the information below if you're interested in buying one. They sell new backpacks and they do have several still in stock. This one is the cheapest one I think in their section. It's still relatively pricey. It comes out at £58 including shipping. However, it is quite good quality. One of the first things I actually wanted to talk about in this video was the colour of the backpack, which is something I really wanted to kind of look at before I bought it, but unfortunately this camera doesn't quite show it well enough. You'll see in the camera image that it's a very kind of bright red, which was something I didn't want, but it's not like that in real life. It's more of a dark wine red, which is really good because that's more subtle and that's more suitable for everyday kind of clothing. It doesn't stand out too much. I'm going to quickly just talk about how quickly this bag managed to get here. I wasn't expecting to do this review for a while. It actually came here 3 days after I bought it. Considering it's coming from Japan, and like sometimes you order things in the UK and it doesn't even come for like 2 weeks, it's pretty good kind of service. Just to talk about, I'm going to run through the bag kind of details as much as I can. So the material is not leather, it's just probably quite clear. It's a synthetic material known as Clarino. It's quite smooth, but it's not as shiny as I feared it might be. The stitching is pretty fine. One of the features that I was looking at in the photographs, which made me go for this bag, is it has this kind of sealant at the end here. Rather than loose kind of stitched material, which some of them have on the joints, which I wasn't as keen on. One of the features I'm less keen on here is these plastic attachments at the top rather than metal. These slide around left to right, but they don't slide forward like at all. There's like no give. So the idea is like it should stick up like really high while you're carrying the bag and not move about. But my fear is, although it's quite thick plastic, is that if you pulled it too much it could break. That's my only real concern about the quality of the bag, if I'm honest. Like, I would prefer to see the metal kind of attachments where this part could move like freely back and forth. The back's pretty padded, it's really comfortable to wear, and there's all these metal bits here, so you can see other than that it's quite a traditional Randusiru kind of design. It's made to be solid, like it is huge, it is very solid, and it is like pretty hard. You can see on the side here is a little clip. Designed, I think Japanese school children might carry their gym clothes or a bottle or something there. You can obviously put a charm on there, so there's lots of options. You could, you could hang your phone from there, but I wouldn't personally do that because it's stupid to hang a really expensive smartphone from the side of your bag. It doesn't matter where you live, like it's not a good idea, you could easily lose it. Another feature, which is keen to point out that I obviously wouldn't have known from looking at it, is it's not plastic that covers these little windows. It's, I'm not sure what you kind of call it. If I scratch it, you may get an idea, like this kind of crisscross synthetic kind of mesh. You can obviously reach in. You can see they've got this plain little card which is meant to write your name and your school on. And that slips in there, and you could obviously put whatever you want. When I bought this, I was planning to use it when I'm travelling, and we're planning to go to Berlin soon. So you can put perhaps your travel information, your name and address on there, as you would like a luggage label. The side of the bag is very solid, side and front here. With leather's traditionally very thick. This is more of a thinner synthetic material moulded to a board. If you look at the side parts here, you can kind of see this part is much softer and it moves and it's pliant and it's thinner. But if you look inside here, you can kind of see it's attached to like a rough kind of woody cardboard board part, so it's mostly board that makes it have this solid shape. The other main flap, I'll just say quickly, is the same. It's that synthetic kind of material, not like a clear plastic bit, and you just slip things in and out of there. The straps are adjustable. However, because obviously I'm a grown-up for the most part, these I would have on the first hole, so it's comfortable. It's obviously adjustable all the way up for children. The disadvantage to that is it only just kind of goes through the loop to keep it in place, kind of flicks out. So maybe you have to have it on the second hole really for it to stay properly kind of neatly fastened. But personally, I've found this is the most comfortable setting. If just to show on the inside as well, there's just kind of a plain bit at the bottom, which is where it's all fastened. The bag actually came with this little kind of like, I don't know, patch to put on the bottom. I assume it's to protect it, but there's nothing actually keeping it in place there, so it's not what you would say fully lined. But once again, I should say this isn't so much a lining. This is synthetic material all the way around that is just stitched to the board that makes up the bag's kind of shape. I think, to be honest, that's going to be all the main features. So I'm going to talk quickly about the packaging. I wasn't sure from the listing whether this would come with a box, and it did. It's not especially a decorative box. It's got kind of blue notes on it, and then I've got obviously my parcel thoughts kind of notes on there. Nothing else really in there. Pretty well packaged on the whole. It came with a couple of extras. One of these was a little charm. I believe this is Doraemon, which is like a classic kids cartoon in Japan. Personally, this isn't of much interest to me. This is obviously the kind of charm you would hang from the side of the bag to kind of decorate it. But as I said, it's not really my style, so I wouldn't actually use this. I will probably get rid of that, unfortunately. It also includes a rain cover. But once again, this is something that I personally just wouldn't be interested in. I wouldn't really want to, having bought this lovely bag, I wouldn't really want to cover it up at all, even, you know, to protect from the rain. Carino, the synthetic material, just to be clear, it's one of the counter-advantages over leather is that it won't kind of crack and wear away with rain. I want to compare it quite briefly to the other bags I have. The first being my trusty satchel. Now, this is real leather. The difference kind of you can tell between real leather and synthetic material is leather is much thicker by itself, it holds its shape, but it's also usually quite plain on the inside. You don't tend to get lined leather. I mean, this is a vintage one, but even with the Cambridge Satchel kind of company, it's much rarer for them to line it, because leather itself, it's like you just have a slab of it and you stitch it together and it will hold. Leather does hold really well. Like, you can kind of beat it up and keep it for a long time. This bag in particular is almost, I'd say, 9 or 10 years old. But it is starting to look it, so it bears the weather. But if I kind of try and show you more close up, my camera doesn't really allow it, but it starts to crack. It starts to crack and discolour in a certain way, which is unfortunate. It's not necessarily going to look as beautiful and smooth and bright as long. Synthetic material may do better than this in that kind of respect. It doesn't necessarily have the weight. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's stitched together to the boarding to give it the thickness and the weight. It's almost like this is very plasticky feeling. Like, this is proper, like, you can tell this is a lump of pure polished synthetic material, and for some people that is going to be a real kind of turn off. Like, if you're into traditional kind of satchels and things, you're going to want one of these in leather. But this kind, I think, is going to have the better colour, smoothness, it's going to stay clean better, it's going to resist the weather better. So I think this was a good choice to make. Final kind of point to make about it, I think, would be that I was not hit with any customs tax, which is quite frankly something I was really worried about, because I've been hit by it before, and it could be like something like 10-20 quid on top of, you know, your postage. This, there was no custom tax. You can see they've sent it through, and made sure to like tick that there shouldn't be any extra charges, that it's being sent out, and there shouldn't be anything additional for the customer. So that was like a big plus. So came here in 3 days, no custom tax, and it's a pretty good product. So if you're interested in buying a Randasuru, I hope this will be helpful to you when looking at them on eBay, kind of looking at synthetic ones and wondering how long they'll come from Japan. You may have a different experience, which like you may want to share as well, but this is just a basic rundown of my experience.